What is up, everybody? Welcome to Speak Now Pro Wrestling. It is Saturday, November 2nd. It's Denise Salcedo and Robin Lundberg, and we are here to talk WWE Crown Jewel 2024. Robin, what is up, man? How are you?
Good. How are you, Denise? It's always interesting these middle of the afternoon. It's funny because sometimes they're great and perfect, and sometimes they're like disruptive to the rest of life functions. But the Saudi crowd, they're getting it on their time zone, and we are reacting on our time zone, which for you is the morning. You wake up and you're WWE. You go to sleep, WWE. Well, did busted open probably in the morning, right? So you're up mad early doing that straight through. It's been a long day for Denise Salcedo already.
My alarm rang at 4:30, but I was officially out of bed by 5:06, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so late!" And so I was rushing, and I did bust it open, and then I did the watch along, and now it's time for the post show. So yeah, it's been pretty much a long morning so far, but honestly, look, this is my job. I enjoy it, and I mean, I'm talking about pro wrestling. I could be, I don't know, doing brain surgery or something hard, right? Like I can't do that. I can't do any of that. That's hard work right there. But talking about wrestling, that to me is fun and it's easy. But we got Crown Jewel to get into, and before we get into like all of the results and everything, overall, I think that the overall feeling from what I get from talking with everybody on the chat here is that the show is for the most part pretty predictable. There weren't really like any crazy occurrences or anything like that, but it wasn't a terrible show though. That's the thing. Like there were at least three matches that I thoroughly enjoyed. Robin, how did you feel about the show overall as a whole?
Yeah, I'd give it like a solid B, right? Like, I mean, I don't think it was. But you look at it like it's this is the standard we've created in modern society, right? Where everything has to be extreme. Like I say B, and some people are going to take that as a negative. Like
No, I
even
actually thought that was really high.
okay, really
I would
are
say
you
like a C plus,
see? Okay, well, C. What's the next thing up from a C plus? A
a
B.
B,
A B.
a
Maybe
B
a B
minus.
minus.
Yeah,
So let's meet in the middle. We'll say it was a B minus
there you go, B minus.
overall. It certainly wasn't a terrible show. I mean, there was nothing bad about it. Like you mentioned, there were some. I don't think there's a match like Cody and Gunther was strong. I thought the women's match, the tag match, was really strong. But I don't think there is a classic that's standing the test of time. And I don't think there were, too many wow jaw dropping moments, but there were a few that are worthy of recognizing. I mean, I think, like I said off the top, I believe we discussed this on the SmackDown post show, but I said that I thought it was significant that Jey Uso said we're on the same level now. And then I think it's significant that he got his own entrance in the midst of the bloodline. So that's not, it's not a huge thing, but it's not small either. You throw in the return of Sami Zayn and the mystery as far as that's left off. Roman Reigns eating a clean pin in the middle of that does not happen very often. We can't act like that's a common occurrence on any show, much less a PLE. I thought Lash Legend may have had her breakout moment as a star because of what stood out to me about that, Denise, was she's a physically imposing woman, and she's had her start in NXT, and it's not like we just saw her for the first time. But when you see her relative to Jade and Bianca, and you're like, holy, like that's a big girl.
That's when it really sets in. Yeah, I get your point because you know she's tall. We know that. I mean, she's standing next to Jakara, and
Yeah.
Jakara is a very tiny, petite woman. But then you see her against other women that you know are tall, and you're like, oh shit, she really is tall. And but yeah, it's kind of like like it sets in, like you really grasp, I guess, her height and all. But no, you're right though, and I can't wait to talk about that. So I do want to go ahead or go in order of the events that occurred on the show, but I do want to go ahead and get into some of these super chats and see what the people had to say overall. We have Lab Glass here who says the women's tag match was the best. All of the rest looked like everyone was in second gear. Personally, for me, my match of the night was the women's tag team match, primarily just because I thought it was the most fun match. My second favorite match was the United States Championship match, and then my third being Gunther and Cody Rhodes.
I think I agree with you. Straight down the line, I would have thought going in Gunther and Cody would be the best match. It was good, but I think it was definitely the women's tag match. It moved at the fastest pace, the best spots. the most exciting overall in all that. The high impact moves, a new star emerging on the scene. That the spot where they all were going over the top rope there to the outside was really strong. The way it finished was really strong. Lash Legend pulled off a cool move. So I thought all of that, it's not a classic, I would say, but it was a hella entertaining match. And I would put that number one. I think I agree on the triple threat, especially the way that finished. That was an incredible finish to that match. And I continue to be more and more impressed with LA Knight in the ring. I've said this, but I used to think that was the weak link for him. And now I don't know if it's the strong suit per se, but it certainly no longer looks like, a flaw. It looks
An
like,
improvement.
yeah, he's now a well-rounded performer because he brings that to the shtick. It's not just the shtick anymore. So I would probably say that. I didn't think the opener was a particularly strong match, but it had moments. It probably had the biggest moments of the night. And everything else, I'm trying to think of like what stood out. Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins was okay. Liv and Nia Jax was okay. The rest of it was, there was nothing that was bad. I wouldn't say there was anything that was like, hold your nose. That sucked. but, but yeah, I think the women's match was definitely the match of the night. The Bloodline match still had the moments of the night.
We got Andrew here who says, enjoy chatting with y'all and stream more than PLEs. Yay. Okay, I'll definitely do that. Thank you so much for that. We got Sheldon Jackson who gifted 5 DWM memberships. Lab Glass gifted 1 DWO memberships. And then Andrew here who just became a member, he's been a member for 2 months. It says 2 months already. How time flies. Seriously, we got Bailey Darley here who says Crown Jewel was good and can't wait for Netflix. I know we're only 2 months away from that Netflix Raw debut. Kind of crazy. By the time the holidays get here, I mean, next thing you know, we're going to be like Thanksgiving, Christmas, blah, blah, blah. We're Netflix time. Like it's going to come so quick. We got Larice Johnson here who says Crown Jewel was a solid D PLE and not a bad PLE. I love how we're all giving it a grade now. And we're all so far apart on what we think here for the most part. But Larice Johnson, thank you so much for that super chat. So let's get to it. I want to kick things off with the Bloodline stuff. So I, like you, Robin, I also felt the same way about the in-ring portion of it all. There were the in-ring match, I think, left a little bit to be desired, which I guess it's fine because we know that we are headed towards War Games. At least that's the big prediction. So I feel like that's where we're really going to get, more of an exciting match. This was really the post-match angle was really what is going to be the huge talking point in all of this. And then, of course, the way that the match ended, because we did see Solo Sikoa pin Roman Reigns. And Robin, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you or lie to the people. I was not necessarily too in love with it. And look, don't get me wrong. I know why they did it. We all know why they did it. They're really helping Solo Sikoa, trying to boost him into superstardom, trying to build the team, the new bloodline to look a lot stronger because you are going up against Roman Reigns and Jey Uso and Jimmy, who are so freaking over. And so they really gotta, stack things up over on the new bloodline side. And that's why they gave Solo Sikoa this big pin over Roman Reigns. It's just, for me personally, really weird anytime we see Roman Reigns get pinned. Like, it doesn't feel right because we went so long without seeing it. Of course, Jay did have his moment where he did, but even so, it's not something that you see often. So I kind of had a hard time accepting it in the moment, but it happened. And even afterwards, though, after that, we did get an attack on the bloodline, and they were sort of on the losing side of it from the new bloodline. But Sami Zayn went out there to help them out, and that was a really nice moment because everybody was like, oh shit, we're so excited, yay, it's Sami. But Sami accidentally, him and Roman both go to take out Solo Sikoa, and during this, Roman ends up taking a haluva kick because Solo Sikoa moves out the way. And so now it looks like, according to maybe some of the members of the bloodline, it might look like he did that on purpose. But I think we all know he did not do that on purpose. So what did you make of just all of what unfolded from the pin, from the match to the pin to the actual post-match angle?
I thought the match was a little sloppy and uneventful and not memorable. I like the finish. Look, we can't keep doing this thing where everybody doesn't want Solo to go over, when they've spent all this time building Solo? Then what the hell was the damn point, right? Like they've built Solo into the faux tribal chief to, that is there to take the place of Roman Reigns and is supposed to be a main character and a main arc and really has been one of the main arcs. He can't just lose all the time. And with the times that he's gone over, because they know it too, like he hasn't had the moment where he's going to win the championship. So his wins have come in the context of the matches where that's not changing hands. That's when he got the pin over Cody, right? But then he loses at SummerSlam. So against Roman, anytime somebody pins Roman, it's a bit of a shocker. And it solidifies Solo a little bit more. And I know people think of Jacob Fatu as the heavy over there and like kind of the breakout star. But Solo's the one who's been the leader. He's the one that's supposed to have the juice. He's the one that needs the credibility. So I don't have a problem at all. What does it do? What does it do if Roman Reigns Superman punches and spears Solo and pins him into the middle of the ring? Why are we then looking forward to the remainder of how this unfolds?
It's just that I can't buy Solo Sikoa as credible right now. And that's the problem. They've done a lot to try to make it feel like he is credible, but it still doesn't hit that way though. It feels like it's like when a kid, right? They're calling and calling you for attention, and you finally turn around and they're like, "Watch this," and then they do something lame, but you have to still applaud them because they're little kids. That's what it feels like with Solo Sikoa. Like I have to be like, "Oh yay, congratulations!"
But I don't know if the internet wrestling community and the super dialed in folks are as representative of maybe the masses, because two examples.
But see, Bad Blood, You're talking about the masses, Robin. At Bad Blood, everybody was like, "Boo Solo, you stink, you can't wrestle."
Yeah, but he had mad heat in the Barclays Center. Mad heat in the Barclays Center. And they were chanting, fuck you, Solo, right? That's what they were chanting. And Raj is sitting there and he's looking around like with a smirk on his face. And I was like, dude, you can say it. And he goes, fuck you, Solo. And and Rohan, my 3-year-old, maybe this influences me too, that his favorite wrestler is Solo Sikoa.
What?
Yes,
He's
yes.
3 years old, so
Yeah,
I mean, come on.
I think he's kind of a little burly kid. I think he sees himself
Oh, how cute.
in Solo a little bit, but he's always asking when the Solo match is and whatever. So he was happy to see Solo Sikoa win. So when I have that experience with him, probably influences me a little bit. My own personal experience is I think they've done a good job with the Solo character and presentation. I just the missing thing with him is I don't buy him in the ring to the same degree as the real stars. He's never had those 5-star matches or anything really approaching it, even from a suspense standpoint. But inside that Barclays Center, that was not go away heat. That was like the building. It was a big, like, even if Roman hadn't have come out, the bloodline in and of itself felt like something. And I do think that matters a little bit. And they've spent a lot of time on it, Denise. Like a lot of time on it since post WrestleMania. Roman was gone out of the picture for a minute. They got rid of Paul Heyman out of the picture for a minute. They have to reassemble the OG bloodline. So you're bringing them back one at a time, Jimmy and then Jay. And now it looks like Sami, though they're trying to sow a little bit of tension there. So in order for that to have a payoff, the task must seem formidable in some sense. So if Solo and them aren't looking and going over, then you're not going anywhere. I mean, eventually we're getting to The Rock, we're getting to all that stuff, but what better way to sell Solo than to have him pin Roman? Because I was caught off. I know in my logical brain it made sense. Like I knew that before. I think we talked about it last night. It made sense for the new bloodline to go over again, but I still didn't expect to see it. So I think that sort of shock in its own way is a success.
See, but I didn't take it as a shock, as like, "Oh my God, I can't believe this happened." I saw it as "Oh, they really went there?" Aw. That was my kind of shock. That was more of a disappointed. And again, we know why they're doing it. We know why they're doing it, but it's just, it's hard for me because I'm not sold. And you're granted, I do want to give Solo Sikoa credit because I have liked some of the last like 2 matches. I like the steel cage match that he did with with Cody Rhodes. I thought that was fun. I also liked the tag team match that we saw on SmackDown a couple weeks ago. I thought that was fun too. But that's kind of been about it. But it's been more so that I haven't bought the character just yet, and that's why it's lacking for me. That's why it feels like, oh, we have to pretend that this is a thing that is deserved. It doesn't feel that way though.
Well, that's fair, and that's your opinion, right? Like that's fair, and there are others who share your opinion. But if that's the case, then they have to just tear it all up and start over.
Right.
You
And
know,
they
like
can't do that. Like we're already like super
yeah.
deep into this. Like
Because
it's
then
not
where do
gonna
you
end
go?
like
Like,
that.
that's a
Yeah.
total like reboot. This didn't work. We're punting and we're giving up on it and we're starting something fresh. If you're continuing the arc that you've spent all of this time investing in, this made more sense.
So with that being said, one of the things that was a huge topic too, and commentary made sure to mention it when you mentioned it earlier too. Jey Uso coming out with his own entrance. I was waiting for this. I was like, all right. When I heard Roman Reigns' theme, I'm like, huh. Are they all coming out together, or is Roman Reigns coming out alone? Because if so, Roman Reigns wouldn't be the one coming out first. He would be the one coming out last. And he comes out with Jimmy. And Jay gets his own entrance. Of course, you can't miss the whole, Yeet experience, but you're seeing Jay take his time, go through the crowd, celebrate with the crowd. And the whole time, Roman is just leaning there, watching this happen. And he doesn't have a big smile on his face. He doesn't look proud, none of that. And commentary is putting over how disgusted Roman Reigns looks from Jey Uso's success. And do you think that they're going to circle back to this again, or are they just trying to show, hey, they're still not 100% on the same page, even though even though we got the yeet and all of that on last night's SmackDown?
I think it's trying to be natural and organic storytelling, right? Like it's not like you have all this tension and friction in a relationship over the course of however long, and then like you squash it, but everything is completely flushed away and forgotten, and you're dancing around rose petals, right? Like
Yeah.
there's still some level of it has to simmer below the surface a little bit. How else did you get there? I mean, Roman Reigns treated Jey Uso like shit. He manipulated him. He took advantage of him. He did everything to sort of undermine him. Now there was a shot I saw it posted online where Roman had like almost like a little bit of a proud expression when Jay did come out for that entrance. So I do think they're doing that too. I mean, for him to say yeet is enough of a cosign in and of itself to say yes, you've done it. Like not I'm acknowledging you as my tribal chief, but I'm acknowledging you as a major player in the industry right now. And agreeing with him being his equal. So I think it's all of that. And then you have to you throw Sami in the mix, and you don't want it to just be like, all right, oh great reunion. You want it to drag on is the wrong word because that implies negative, but you want it to play out over a period of time. And that's I think why when Sami came out, there was even the moment of hesitation. What's he going to do there with Solo before he goes after Solo, and then the accidental hit on Roman Reigns, which I think was clearly accidental, but we'll see how Roman reacts to it. So maybe you do the same song and dance where Roman's like, I don't know about you, Sami, but then like the next week he's like honorarius, right? Like so I
Yeah,
think that's
Jimmy was like all up on his face, like super pissed off about it. And Jimmy hasn't been the biggest fan of Sami Zayn either. So yeah, so I totally get that portion too. And it's funny because when they had Sami Zayn like tease that he was gonna turn on Jimmy and Jay and Roman and all of that, right? That he was gonna side with Solo Sikoa. Nobody bought it, Robin. I didn't buy it. Did you buy it? I don't think anybody bought that.
no, I mean, what's the motivation at that point, coming out? I mean, but I do like the callback on Jimmy. I mean, as you referenced, this is longer term storytelling than I think I've ever seen in wrestling, where you're talking about not just a prolonged story involving the same characters, but the beats of it tying in even as you've changed the tone, you've gone from heel to face, and you've broken them up and brought them back together. We're still going back to references that happened 3-4 years ago, perhaps, and no end in sight either, right? Like
No,
so.
definitely not. It feels like we're just adding more. We're like, oh, now this has to happen. This has to happen. Like I'm still waiting like down the road to get this Roman Reigns Jacob Fatu portion of it all. Because if you notice, Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu didn't really have too much of an engagement in the physical engagement in the matchup. Like they were kind of away from each other. They had
And
few moments, very few moments.
And they've done that for the most part since Fatu arrived. I mean, I think that was the injury angle when I forget what card it was, but when he got hurt and didn't interact with Roman. I think he was part of the one Roman takedown, right? And other than that, they've physically mostly been away from each other because I think that's a match that sells itself. Roman against Jacob Fatu. They've got a lot of those matches that sell themselves. And these sort of ensemble matches are a means to an end. And that's why Solo Sikoa goes over in these matches, because you have to keep it going and there's no downside to him winning, versus if he did, yes, okay, I might be with you if it was WrestleMania and Solo Sikoa is hitting the Samoan spike and beating Roman Reigns clean in the ring to win, Roman doesn't have the time, but you get the point, versus in this thing to advance the story.
We got Bailey Darley here who says, I think Solo needs to be a comedy character because he has Jacob, Tomatonga, and Tongaloa. It would be, I don't know. It's hard to agree because I feel that this storyline is so serious. It's like family stuff. It's, about the bloodline. It's about the tribal chief, the head of the table. And Roman Reigns is such a strong character and his aura is undeniable. I wouldn't be able to take the storyline seriously if Solo Sikoa was indeed a comedy character. Like, I need him to match or get as close as possible to matching Roman Reigns' presence and overall attitude.
Well, look, it's hard enough for everyone to take him seriously now. So if you were to turn him into a comedy character, it's over. He is that for the rest of time. Not that there's anything wrong with that necessarily, but you don't want Solo Sikoa to be R-Truth right now, right? Like, and that's basically what would happen to Solo Sikoa. So I think, you have to do everything in your power to make the fans take him seriously, as he is making a serious case, at least from his point of view, to represent this legendary family.
I get you. And thank you so much to Bailey Darley for sending in that super chat. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the next matchup here. The next one is the one that Robin and I both voted match of the night. The Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship saw Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill successfully defend against Kairi Sane and Io Sky, Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, and Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Now, I completely agree with you, Robin. I thought this match was so freaking fun. I thought it was creative. The whole time I was like, oh, is this gonna happen? Oh, is that gonna happen? Like, I was so into this matchup here. There were so many great moments. I mean, damn, where do I even begin? I thought Bianca and Jade looked really great. I thought their bodysuits were awesome with the bejeweled, dazzling, all of that looked really good. The moments between Jade Cargill and Lash Legend, we did see that last night on SmackDown, and they expanded that a little bit more here today, to the point where, honestly, that exchange that we saw with Jade Cargill and Lash Legend in particular, Robin, I'm like, shit. Lash Legend is sort of winning here because her, like, when she would smack Jade Cargill on the chest, oh my god, it looked like it hurt so badly. And then when Jade tried to return the favor, it didn't hit as hard. And then when Lash Legend hits her pump kick, dude, I feel like it comes stronger, it comes harder, and I just feel like she just I don't know, like I feel like she's sort of overpowering Jade Cargill here, which is interesting because Jade Cargill, like, that was her thing, like the pump kick and all of that, that was her thing. But now I feel like that might be Lash Legend's thing now.
I think it was the best match with the second best moment. And I'd say the first best moment was with the Bloodline, simply because Sami, Roman eating a pin. We know the ramifications, the implications of what's to come. We know that that's going to be the main course down the line. But this was a super entertaining match. And I think the second biggest takeaway from the event as a whole is, okay, Lash Legend's here, right? Like, she is here. And like I said, it's her presence. Now, because Jade Cargill is a superhero, right? Bianca Belair, hell, she's a superhero. And to see Lash stand there and look physically imposing is something else. And she has a different body type too. Like, Jade is chiseled, and like she's cut out of stone, perfect physique. Lash Legend is certainly not, please don't get it twisted. She is, when I say big girl, I don't mean overweight, but she has a thickness about her, a sturdiness about her, that her build is a little bit different.
She's a powerhouse.
Yes,
She's
yeah.
tall and she's a powerhouse. Yes.
And it makes her look imposing. So when you see, anytime you could stand next to, I think she might be, is she bigger than Jade Cargill, right? Like,
She
yeah,
is bigger. Yeah, she is. She's tall. She's like at least I feel she's at least like maybe 4 inches taller than her, 5 inches. I don't know. It feels like a whole hand at least.
yeah. So I mean, I kind of felt like this was to her what Australia was to Tiffany Stratton, where
Yes,
she's gonna
yes.
get ratcheted up from this point on.
No, dude, I've been such a big fan. Like, I have been so impressed with Lash Legend's time here, on the main roster. Even though she's not an official main roster talent, she's doing so good and she's hanging in there, man. And I feel like, I don't know. I think this is the right decision having her right now on the main roster, and the fact that she's looking as good as she does, dude. Like sure, be on NXT, be on the main roster, but don't just like I don't think they should just send her back to only be on NXT. I think if she's going to do what she's doing right now and being on both brands, great. Of course, she's getting a lot more attention on the main roster. Right now on NXT, all the spots are taken. All those women's spots, they're taken, right? They're killing it. I think that Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson definitely fill a void right now on the main roster that is needed. And also Jakara Jackson, I loved her drop kick. I thought that was great. That was something that I enjoyed from this. I loved when they did the whole bit. You mentioned it on the outside when they had Kyrie hit her elbow, followed by Io Sky doing her moonsault. Oh, that was so good. Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they had a lot of fun, doing their whole bits. This was just overall enjoyable. I do think the right team won, by the way, with Bianca and Jade. And I know that's probably not everybody felt that way. There were some people I know during the chat, during the watch along, that wanted to see the titles change hands here. Personally, I want to keep them on Bianca and Jade. I want to continue seeing them be presented as such the way that they are right now. I still think that there's a lot more that they can be done there. I feel the fact that they lost the titles and then won the title back. I feel like that affected a lot of people's interest in them as a tag team, but I feel like they can get that back. A lot of people wanted to see Damage Control win. That was your pick, actually. I
Mhm.
remember that. There was a lot of people who felt that exact same way because they go out there, man, and they freaking hustle, and it's undeniable.
Yeah, no, but I think they look strong in this match. And then Bianca and Jade. If you're not going to do the Bianca Jade clash, then Lash Legends emergence is a big thing, because that can be what seems like a real obstacle for these other two who physically there was just nobody else. Bianca and Jade can stand there and flex in the ring, and there's nobody else who can look credible from a realistic standpoint to physically go up against them until Lash arrived on the scene.
That is true. I like that point. We got a super chat here from Love for Boots, who says it was actually Jay that didn't like Sammy. Jimmy was the one who reacted first when Sammy turned on Roman. I felt like it was a little bit of both, though. And I've God, the storyline has gone for so long. How many times haven't we seen people like shift around and whatnot? But yeah, you're right. There was also the drama, of course, with Jay and Sammy, but no, this was great stuff, and I'm glad that we're bringing back Sammy into the fold because it feels like his time on the main roster, there really wasn't too much interest. Like there wasn't much interest in his feud with Gunther. Like people weren't too interested in that. And so many people, when you ask them your favorite part of the bloodline, your favorite era of this bloodline story, you're gonna bring up Sami Zayn. You're gonna bring up Sami Zayn being an honorary Uce and all of that. So I was happy to see him get this moment, and especially in Saudi Arabia, it just worked out very nicely. Thank you so much to Love for Boost for also sending in the super chat. We got Cheesesteak59 who says Io Sky is fun to watch. She really is fun to watch, but I think all these girls really are, and they all bring something so freaking different to the table. All of them. I like the uniqueness of everybody. All right, thank you so much to Cheesesteak59. Robin, did you want to add something? Sorry, I didn't
I
mean to
was just
cut you
gonna
off.
say, Io Sky has some energy about her that I cannot put into words that I find compelling. Just the way she carries herself, her presence, her movement, all of that. Because I think I said this on the SmackDown show, but she doesn't speak much, obviously. It's the it factor, that unexplainable. I think she does possess that.
Yeah, I feel you on that. She's just cool to watch, and you're like, "Oh, what's she gonna do next?" Like, she can handle herself in the ring, and that's enjoyable to see for sure. All right, let's go on to the next match here. We had Seth Rollins defeat Bronson Reed. Oh God, Robin. I loved the way that this match started, right? Because we see Seth Rollins go in and attack Bronson Reed. Shout out to Bronson Reed's gear. He looked phenomenal. But he goes and attacks Bronson Reed, right? And it takes a while for them, like they're fighting on the outside, and it takes a while for this match to officially get started. Seth Rollins takes a nasty bump onto the over the barricade into the chair, and I'm thinking, ooh, is Bronson Reed, like, by the time they get this match started, is he gonna finish him off? There was a moment right at the beginning where I thought it was over. So Bronson hit a tsunami, right? And then afterwards, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna hit another one, and that's it. Like, this match is gonna be over. But they didn't go that direction. Instead, they kept this going. And then there was a moment where Seth hits a curb stomp, and I'm thinking, oh shit, no, this is going to go a little longer. And they kept it going. Eventually, I think Seth hit like what, like three curb stomps. I lost track of how many he hit. He even hit one on Bronson on the steel steps. And Bronson loses this match. And Robin, I know Seth was the babyface in this. I know Seth needed to get his revenge after Bronson Reed took him out for months with those tsunami splashes. But man, I was rooting for Bronson Reed here. And I felt like the majority of the people on the chat were also rooting for Bronson Reed because people want to see Bronson Reed go on this insanely strong freaking run. Like I think people here want to see him be like this monster, this like Gunther, but a little bit different, right? With his own twist, his own flavor. And so I was actually disappointed that Bronson Reed lost. I didn't want to see Bronson Reed lose.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what's next for Seth Rollins. I guess that's part of it too. He's been there, done that, accomplished everything, legendary career. He was
Probably
actually,
waiting for CM Punk to come back.
yeah, that's true too, because that's a money feud. He was an integral part of WrestleMania, and I think, yeah, CM Punk, Seth Rollins is marquee waiting to happen. But it did feel like they built Bronson Reed up, not only the way he took out Seth Rollins, but the whole program he had with Braun Strowman to really make him into a monster. There was a certain segment of fans who were probably disappointed because they really appreciated the homage on his ring gear. He was wearing MF Doom, a hip hop cult hero who passed away a few years back. But in the match there, yeah, it felt a little anticlimactic to me. I'm with you. I just I don't know what it does for Seth versus how it damages Bronson Reed because they tried to do the reverse sell on commentary after it happened, and they're like, Seth Rollins with the win, but Bronson Reed proved he's a main event, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Like you can't sell me that after he just lost. After all this, I'm sorry. It didn't feel he wasn't screwed. Like it wasn't. That'd be one thing if something else had happened. Braun Strowman had come down from the rafters to hit him with a semi truck or something. But in this case, I don't know. It felt a little flat to me.
Yeah, I think so too. So I felt like there was the wrong it's hard to say it's like the wrong guy won because story-wise, yeah, it does make sense for Seth to win, but I think our hearts were just with Bronson Reed continuing this crazy monster run that he's been on. So let's see how they go about this next and how we continue on for both Bronson Reed and for Seth Rollins. So we'll see what ends up happening there. But let's go ahead and get into Kevin Owens and Randy Orton because this was a match that we were supposed to get. However, we didn't actually get this match because Kevin Owens went crazy and started like hitting Randy Orton with a bunch of chair shots before Randy Orton could even finish his entrance. And so this caused a whole ass fight. Everybody and their mothers came out to try to stop this, and they could not. And it literally ended with Randy Orton hitting an RKO on Adam Pearce, which I thought was hilarious because he's not even his general manager. His general manager is Nick Aldis. But we just saw basically chaos ensue here. And it's funny because I kind of predicted that we weren't actually going to get one of these matches. We've all been talking about how the recent WWE PLE cards have been 5 matches, and this one was 7. Like there was 7 that were supposed to happen, and they for a second made me think that the Seth Rollins Bronson Reed match wasn't gonna happen. They made it seem like that on Raw, and then also when they were fighting up on the stage, I thought for a second like, What if this match doesn't happen? So I kind of had the sense that one match wasn't going to happen, but I wasn't expecting it to be the Kevin Owens Randy Orton one.
Though I think this was done well. This
Yes, I
this was
agree.
done well because it made everybody, nobody got hurt coming out of it, literally or figuratively. I mean, in the storyline, Randy Orton sure got hurt, but it doesn't. I don't think there was an actual injury. But from the figurative standpoint, nobody got hurt. Kevin Owens, the whole premise of this version of his character is he snapped a little bit, so you further that, and you don't have either guy take the L. And you still also don't like end it like he hits him, DQ, it's over. There's some melee and chaos that ensues. So I think for the purposes of what they're doing and what they're building, they actually executed this flawlessly. It's not one of those things that stands the test of time because nothing actually happened. But as far as advancing what they're doing, it was spot on.
I was 100% okay with them doing this. Like, I wasn't bummed out that we didn't get the match. I was intrigued by the chaos that ensued. I was good with this. Like, I had no problem with it at all. And like you and I talked about how, like, last night we were saying, like, you can't like have Kevin Owens lose. Like, come on, he's been angry. He's been so frustrated. You can't just like cut his legs underneath him and have him take this L to Randy Orton. And then at the same time, you make the case also for Randy Orton. So I feel like they did this. They filled a gap here by not doing the match, which is crazy, right? Because usually we get pissed when we don't get matches. But again, they did so well here that like I was cool with this. And I feel like if anything, the story is now more intense. The story has gotten even more personal between them. So I feel like all of the unexpectedness made it even better. So that was cool. All right, we got to go ahead and move into our the singles match for the WWE Women's Crown Jewel Championship. And that was a Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. Now, this one kind of got a little convoluted, I would say, because they had the Tiffany Stratton cash in, not one or tease rather, not once but twice on this show, maybe even 3 times if I recall. I think it was definitely 2 times where she came out during this match and it seemed like she was going to cash in, but then Nia Jax stopped her, and then she came back because the crowd was egging her on, but then she was stopped once again, but this time by Raquel Rodriguez and Dominic Mysterio, who came in because they didn't want this match to turn into a triple threat and for Liv Morgan to get screwed. Nia Jax ends up taking out Liv, Raquel, and in doing so also takes out Tiffany Stratton by accident. And so then back in the ring, we do get Raquel. Dominic distracts the referee. Raquel tosses. I think that she moved the rope so that Nia Jax can fall. So Liv was able to hit the Oblivion and get the victory there. So she got the win with help here. But there was no cash in. Liv Morgan is the first women's crown jewel champion. So pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy. It's just a little bit convoluted here.
Yeah, it's again, where are we going with that? When is the payoff? All that, but Liv Morgan, they've done everything they can to really push the chips into the middle of the table for her. With the Rhea feud, and then Rhea's been out of action, so that only causes you to. There's no other choice but to double down when that happens, right? So I think Liv Morgan has really benefited more than almost anyone else on the roster. She's up there in the last several months between the Dom thing, the Rhea thing on top of that, and then being elevated as her own competitor. So I can see keeping that going and not wanting to squash any of this momentum that you've built over quite a period of time now.
Yeah, so I mean, again, match wise, it wasn't anything like too extraordinary. It was more so just like the outcome of like, okay, we got these Tiffany Stratton teases, we got Raquel going after Dominic, so it was just a little bit of everything sort of meshed into one. So nothing too wild here, but that's what that was here. Next up, we had the United States Championship match, and this was one that again I think was the second best match of the night for a lot of people. This may actually be match of the night. And this was the triple threat for the United States title. LA Knight defending against Andrade and Carmelo. Carmelo. Truthfully, Robin, how I felt about this was Andrade and Carmelo were the stars of this match. They went out there and they did most of the work, man. Like they carried the assignment here. And LA Knight had like a couple of moments here. Nothing too crazy. He did have one minor slip when he leaped up onto the ropes, but he bounced back and whatnot. But in the end, we all predicted he was gonna come in, hit this BFT, or what does he call it? The BFT,
Yeah,
BFK,
yeah,
right?
BFT.
I keep wanting to say BFK because of Burger King. Always throws me off. But he goes in there, hits his move, BFT, and that's it. That's a wrap. Carmelo Hayes, LA Knight retains. And personally, again, this match was Andrade and Carmelo. They did awesome, man. Spanish fly off of the second freaking rope. That was freaking cool. I love when Andrade does his moonsault and then does the standing moonsault from there on. So it's a really nice continuous string. But no, this match was fun, man. But it was primarily Andrade and Carmelo.
Yeah, it was, except for, I mean, I think the way that the ending pulled off was spot on. And LA Knight, some of his spots in there, the jump that he does to the top rope now into the move, and the way that the finish was executed the finish was beautiful. I mean, that was perfect, exquisite. It's like the kind of thing like, hey, did you rehearse this 100 times?
Yeah, seriously, like the timing of it. Yeah.
Get it done so well. And that's to me what sticks out the most about the match is the way it finished. Because you've had this long-standing thing with Andrade and Carmelo Hayes. Obviously, now you turn it into a triple threat. That's the perfect execution of a triple threat where the two guys who had been going at it are going at it, but the other guy comes in and steals it all in one motion.
Literally, exactly what went down with that. No, the finish was cool. I did like how that looked, and like you said, getting that all in one motion was very, very awesome. But all right, we got one final match to get into. Like I said, this was a pretty straightforward show, but we had the WWE Crown Jewel championship match for the men though, and this was Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Now, this one was a tough one, Robin, because I was sort of split here in terms of like what can happen, right? Because if you have Gunther win, like you said last night on our SmackDown post show, it would really be like, oh shit, Gunther defeated Cody. Wow, this would do so much for Gunther, take him a long ways, all of that. But then at the same time, Cody Rhodes is the undisputed WWE champion. Like he is earmarked to go and do all of these big things. We're expecting him to face The Rock. We're expecting him to have a third match with Roman Reigns. We're expecting him to headline WrestleManias for the upcoming future. So if Cody Rhodes would have lost here, especially in a clean fashion to Gunther, it would sort of knock the undisputed WWE championship down a peg. And even Cody Rhodes said it himself during the actual little interview that he did with Kathy Kelly. I thought he did a great job of talking about how, like, okay, whoever wins this match, if Gunther wins, he can make a claim that he should be main eventing WrestleMania or should be headlining, these big shows that are, like I said, sort of earmarked for Cody. And so that really, really put that all into focus. It really, really did. And we get this match. There were some good moments here. I liked the way it started. I thought it kind of slowed down a little bit during the middle. I think they could have trimmed off maybe just a couple of minutes, or I thought there were just some portions that in the middle of this match that took way too long to get to the next steps, but they got there. The crowd kept up the energy, which was great to see. And eventually we see a really great finish. We're talking about finishes. This was probably my favorite finish of the night, because we saw Cody Rhodes go to the top rope. He goes to try to hit the cutter, but Gunther instead gets him in a sleeper, and it was like the third sleeper he had gotten on Cody Rhodes at this point. But Cody Rhodes transitions it, and he ends up, I don't even know how you call it. He flips over to the opposite side, holds Gunther really quickly, keeps him down, shoulders down, 1, 2, 3, and it's a quick victory there for Cody Rhodes. So it was like Gunther, yes, he lost, but he didn't lose in a fashion where like Cody whooped his ass. No, it just happened so quick. Gunther wasn't, couldn't get out of it. It happened. Cody Rhodes wins. Afterwards, they shake hands, and Cody is now the first male Crown Jewel champion.
Yeah, look, I mean, I can't be mad at it because I did think, this is an opportunity to make Gunther look stronger. But at the same time, Cody's the guy. He's the one that won the title from Roman. He is a great performer in the ring, and it ended in a justifiable, valiant way. Like, you two great performers, one got the best of the other. The other's frustrated. I can't believe this happened to me. So I didn't think anybody really came out looking bad. And it's a good way to continue to strengthen Cody. I thought the match was good, not amazing or great. And these two have the potential to have an amazing or great match. So in that sense, I guess it's a slight letdown. But as far as the way it ended, I think it was really well executed and done. So overall, a success for that champion versus champion crown jewel match.
Yeah, because I feel like down the line, I agree with your sentiments on just like the overall matchup because I feel like down the line, I'm going to remember the finish. I don't know how much of the actual body of the match I'm going to remember. But yeah, I do think that I was expecting a little bit more from Cody Rhodes and Gunther. But hey, it was what it was. Awesome finish. And Cody Rhodes wins. So we had the ending was Cody Rhodes, Liv Morgan, Triple H, and some other people from Saudi Arabia that came out and they did like this whole celebration. So that was kind of a congratulations to them. And they're going to get themselves like those rings because they don't actually take the Crown Jewel Championship with them, but they do get like Super Bowl like rings, which I believe I saw a couple of people here in the comments say that I think they gave them to them during the press conference. So I'll look at that afterwards. But there you go. That was WWE Crown Jewel 2024. Thank you so much to everybody who hopped into the watch along. If you hopped into the review with Robin and I, we really thank you for that. Robin, promote your stuff. Let the people know where they can find you.
Sure. Robin Lundberg YouTube channel. Find that. You can find me on all the social media. Women's Fast Break on SI. I cover women's basketball over there. And Denise, I don't know. I found my son's YouTube page last night, Raj Talk. If you guys want to give that a
Aww.
search. I was looking and I stumbled upon it last night. He's been doing all these videos and editing them himself and like
What?
doing analysis and putting the captions over top of it. He's about to turn 10 on Tuesday. So, you know, and I, so it's just that it was kind of a cool moment, to see that, like, and I can tell he's emulated me a little bit, like in the way that he'll
Oh, how
pose like a this or that
cute.
thing, or the way he almost like sort of stole, I don't want to say stole, but was inspired a little bit by maybe things he's heard me say. So
Aw,
that
that
was
is
a
so cute. So wait, he does
honest.
like wrestling videos?
He does a whole bunch of different, he's not he's
Yeah, yeah, he's a little kid. That's so
his avatar
cute.
is Roman Reigns with the title, and he does have wrestling stuff in there for sure. But I'll give him a little shout out because I saw on his channel thing he put his goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by January. So Raj Talk, just look for that one.
Stop it. That's adorable. The fact that he's like already doing something like that at that age think about it. Like, what were you doing at that age? I wasn't doing that. I was in my room dancing to Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, and like I guess it's one commentary on how like user friendly some of this stuff is now too. But that's the most impressive thing to me is like green screening himself and
Yes.
editing and all that stuff.
How cute. You're like, what the hell? That's amazing. That is adorable. Oh my gosh. Well, best of luck to Raj. You said it was Raj Talk.
I think it might have a hyphen in between, but either way, somebody will find it out there. I just wanted to give him a little bit of a shout out.
Aw, alrighty, guys. Well, that's our show. As for me, please do not forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll be back Monday for the Raw watch along. Wednesday, we do got the double stream with both AEW and NXT. And then Friday, Robin and I will be back for a SmackDown conversation. So that's a wrap for us today. Everybody, please enjoy your weekend, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye, everyone.
Yeet.